Good morning. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. Heck of a job by your girls this season. It's been kind of a struggle at certain points during the season, but you guys seem to be getting hot at the right time.
Oh, yeah. We definitely struggled to put the ball in the back of the net this year, but the girls are figuring out how to do it at the right time. Couldn't pick a better time to be able to put balls in the back of the net.
Now, Coach, what did you think of this team about halfway through the season? Did you think you had enough in you to make a run to the playoffs?
I always know that they have it in them. It's just whether or not they find the confidence and click at the right times. We spent a lot of time in practice the last couple of weeks working out some kinks in our game. The girls are stepping up, and I just couldn't be more proud of them.
Yeah, I know you have some, some experienced players there with girls like Kayla. Now, hopefully I say this last name right. Bianikowski? Did I say that right?
Yeah, it's close. Benikowski.
Benikowski,
yeah,
okay.
It's a tough one.
And Christina Rapicki?
Yep, we call her Nina Rapecki. Yep.
Rapecki, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not the easiest last names to say, but tell me a little bit about those two girls. They've kind of been carrying you offensively.
My girls all around, they're just awesome kids, and those two especially. Definitely before the season started was really looking towards them to score, and they know they struggled, but they kind of got their heads right, and they're very talented, both of them, and they're both very hard workers, and I just couldn't be more happy that they're figuring it out right now.
But really, I mean, you look at this team, you've been getting contributions throughout the lineup in a playoff win over Middle Township. You had 5 different players score either a goal or assist. And Jess Amos, back there, goalkeeper, had 15 saves in the win over Manchester. So really, it's been seems like it's been kind of a total team effort to get this team over the hump a little bit and to start playing well at the right time.
Yeah, it's really exciting. That's what I love most about my team is, I don't build my team around one player, and you really never should. So what I'm lucky enough to have is a group of girls that can distribute the ball, and everybody, even all the way down to my bench against Manchester, they were part of the team, part of the game. They were loud and into it, and that's what I really love is that it comes from everybody.
We're talking with Coach Danielle Hagel from Cedar Creek Girls Soccer. And, Coach, was there a point in this season where you thought, I know this team is talented, but I don't know if they can put it all together in time to make a late-season run? Or what was the turning point where you finally thought, all right, we're finally starting to play like I thought we could?
Well, that kind of came, honestly, the last week of the season. So, our first goal is always to win the conference. And, there comes a point in the season when you realize whether that is a real thing or not. And once we realized, that was kind of out of our hands, we then turned our focus to postseason. So I told the girls, hey, these regular season games after the cutoff, let's just figure things out. Let's work together. Let's try to figure out what we need to do. And then we're really going to go to work after season. And I kind of got them to buy into that. So we changed some things up. And those last couple games against Middle, we had a regular season game against Middle. We had a regular season game against Millville and Vineland. And I really started to see them turn their game around and come to. And that's kind of when I said, hey, we're going to maybe do something this postseason.
Now, how frustrated were you early on? You're 4 weeks into the season, 5 weeks into the season, and you're kind of hovering around that 500 mark. How tough is that as a coach to kind of understand how long of a grind it is, and that I don't know how you approach that. I guess different coaches approach it differently. Do you get on the players more? Do you take your foot off the gas pedal, give them a little bit of rest? How did you handle that where a team isn't playing up to its potential and you got to figure it out within the next 2 or 3 weeks?
It's definitely a tough thing to handle. I haven't been a head coach for very long. I've been a head coach for 3 years. But I've learned that you kind of can't keep pushing if they're not performing. And you have to look at the girls that you have in front of you and do what they need. And they are an amazing group of girls. So I kind of took off the gas a little bit, took off the pressure, just encouraged them to relax, but never give up and never keep working. And just had individual conversations with each of them, like, hey, what do you think you need to do? And, this is what we think as a coaching staff, what you need to do. And no pressure, but let's figure it out together. And they responded so well. And yeah, it's tough. I don't have a lot of bench players, so they get tired, and I know that. And I tell them, like, hey, I recognize you're exhausted, but, you just got to keep pushing, and, they all are doing that.
That's a great point, Coach. I mean, a lot of times the temptation for a coach is when you're hovering around that 500 mark, the temptation is to go a little bit harder and practice longer, bring them in on the weekends, that kind of thing. And sometimes with teenage kids, they just need a little bit of a mental break sometimes, maybe give them a Saturday off, that kind of thing. So it can be tough with 16, 17-year-old girls to figure out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, I think a lot of coaches, me included in the beginning of my career, kind of forget that they're kids. And you just have to remember that, they still are teenagers. You have some 14-year-olds on your team, and they have a lot going on in their lives, and this is supposed to be fun. So the moment that it becomes not fun for them, you have to kind of change what you're doing and make it fun for them.
Talking with Danielle Hagel, Cedar Creek girls soccer coach. And, Coach, was there a point for you at the season where you said, maybe I'm not doing the right thing as a coach, or did you always have confidence in what you were doing?
If you always have confidence and think you're perfect, then you're not a good coach. So I, always reflect on my coaching, and I have an amazing assistant, Rebecca Sartorio, who used to play at Apsagami and then went on to college to play at Albright. She's really knowledgeable. And, we bounce ideas off of each other. And I would, come home after every game after, like, a tough loss. We lost against Lower Cape May. And I even say to my girls, I'm like, tell me what I'm doing wrong as a coach. What do I need to get better at? And what do I need to do to help you win? And, all the time, maybe I'm using the wrong formation or putting the wrong kid in the wrong spot. So you have to constantly reflect on yourself as a coach if you want to get better. I
don't know if I'd ask the kids that too often. You might not get the responses you want.
Oh, it's true, but if you want respect from them, and I've come to find that the girls will play the best for you when they respect you. So you kind of gotta work, but it's a fine line, and it's a balance, and you got to take that chance, that they're gonna maybe say something you don't want to hear.
Now, Coach, you guys are in the sectional semifinals. Going to take on number 2 Cinnaminson on Monday, I believe. What do you tell your girls this weekend? How do you approach this game?
Yeah, we've already started having the conversation about it, and really my number one thing is just getting them to buy in and know that they're capable of beating anybody on any given day. And I think that's the first step, is just getting them pumped up for the game, confident, that they can do it. And to just, at this point in the season, like, they know what they're doing. They just need to relax and play their game. And, we don't have as much of a game plan against them as we did against Manchester. Manchester had a 30-goal scorer and, one stud on their team. And Cinnaminson, was good all around. So we're just going to approach it and play our game. And I tell them, you got nothing to lose. You're the underdog. And that's exactly, I tell them, I said, if I were to go into this game, I would love to be us, because being the underdog is fun. You got nothing to lose. Leave it all out there. And there's nothing to be nervous about.
Great stuff, as always, Coach. We appreciate the time early on a Saturday morning, and I know you probably got to get these girls off to practice. So thanks for taking a few minutes, and good luck on Monday.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have a great weekend, Coach.
All right, thanks. You too. See ya.
That was Danielle Hagel, head soccer coach for the girls over at Cedar Creek. They're